This is Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. Coming to you from the fabulous Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome, I'm your host, Benjamin Burrows.
I am one voice that stands alone. I am one choice to man the throne. Stand guard and take shots, give it all I got. All I got is this microphone. I
Reach for the sky, boy.
Hey, everybody, this is Billy Gunn.
Hi, this is Glasgow, Delaware Kit Kat.
Hey, it's me, the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
This is the Birdman Coco Beware.
Hey, this is Leo Rush.
In Macho Madness, yeah. Growing, and more seductive than sex.
To me, they are the greatest tag team in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks!
Hey, this is the NWA World's Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, the National Treasure, Nick Holden.
Woo! It's the Nature Boy. Woo!
Hi, I'm the Concrete Rose, Sunny Kiss.
This is Tito Santana, WWE Hall of Famer.
Hey, what's up? It's Tony Schiavone.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one of the founding fathers of All In, the Executive Vice President of All Elite, Cody!
And what you gonna do when Hulkamania and the largest arms in the world destroy you?
Hi, folks out there. I'm Princess Clark, and I never listen to Grunt to Groan with Benjamin Burrows.
Well, hello and welcome to Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. I'm your host, Benjamin Burrows, and we are coming to you from the fabulous Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome. And it is a great and glorious day to be out selling your products and selling your services. For you are the great American Thunder on which this nation rolls, because nothing happens until something is sold, until you sell it. And this is Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. Want to thank our producer, Dave the Ray, for hanging and banging with us this week. And, of course, my good friends at the Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome, where champions are made, Sonny Thunder and the Sons of Thunder, and, of course, our whole staff here at Grunt to Groan. We thank you so very much. It is, like I said, a great and glorious day to be out selling your products and selling your services. And if you want to get in touch with us here at Grunt to Groan, it's real easy. Email me at greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. That's greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. I answer each and every email. There are no filters. That comes direct to me. And if you'd like to advertise on this great podcast, please let us know. Email me at greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. And what an exciting time it is in professional wrestling. Let me tell you, we have WWE programs on Monday night, on Wednesday night, and on Friday night. And we have the AEW broadcasting on Wednesday night. And on the in-betweens, we've got Impact now with a national broadcasting deal. And we've got Ring of Honor coming out in syndication each and every week. Where I'm at, Ring of Honor comes out. They're programming on Sunday, but you can also see it during the week on a channel called Stadium. And, man, just an exciting time, because if you love professional wrestling, there's a lot of competition out there for professional wrestling. And this week was pretty exciting because another wrestling program debuted. The NWA debuted on YouTube on Tuesday nights at 6:05 with their program Power. And it is a throwback back to the days of the old studio wrestling shows, something you might have seen in Georgia Championship Wrestling back in the day. A studio show, something the WWE may have put on when they used to do their studio shows from the Hershey Arena in Hershey, Pennsylvania back in the day. And I just want to say congratulations to Billy Corrigan and the whole crew at the NWA. It was an outstanding program. I watched it on Tuesday night all the way through, and then watched it again early on Thursday night with my grandsons showing them that this was the way that professional wrestling was done back in the day, back when I was a kid. And, you know, I'm watching how the NWA and the AEW approach their wrestlers and how they allow their wrestlers the opportunity to go out and do interviews and cut promos that are unscripted. Now, see, this is one of the issues that I have with the WWE, and this jumps right into our broadcast this week. That is, how much control does a leader need to have to make their organization successful? Now, this podcast is going to be directed right at leadership, or those of you who are currently sales professionals but who strive to grow into leadership roles. There comes a point where, as a leader, you can exercise so much control that you take creativity and motivation away from your team. We call it micromanaging, maybe over-managing, but I see it a lot in the professional sales where managers want to be involved with their sales professionals to a point that the sales professional loses all identity of who they might be or who they are. And the South Carolina Chicken had sent out to me a link to a LinkedIn page from Oleg Vyshmpolsky about leadership. And it says that leadership is not being in charge. It's about taking care of people in your charge. And in doing that, are you allowing, as a leader, are you allowing your team to exercise their creativity? Are you listening to their ideas? Are you making sure that they are being heard? When they face challenges out in the field, are you not only giving them your ear, but are you taking their message forward to upper management? And in professional wrestling, I think we've seen leadership go overboard in the past couple of years. And what I'm talking about is the WWE. The WWE has been scripting their interviews and their promos that they allow their professional wrestlers to say and do. Now, I don't have firsthand knowledge of this, so if I am wrong, email me at greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. This is what I have read online, that the interviews are now scripted. And part of the beauty of professional wrestling back in the day was that professional wrestlers had the opportunity to actually go and improv and write and speak their own promos. This was something they were allowed to do. And some of the greatest promos from these wrestlers happened because they were allowed to do this. Hard times, as I noted in the book, Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling. Hard Times, one of the greatest wrestling promos ever cut by the late, great Dusty Rhodes. And leadership allowed wrestlers to have that creativity. But recently, with the WWE, it's all been canned or it's all been scripted. I think it's one of the reasons why I stopped watching professional wrestling. And when I talk to other professional wrestling fans, it's one of the reasons why they stopped as well. Now that brings me to some of this new programming. It brings me to some of these new options that we have for professional wrestling. One of them, of course, is AEW. You hear me talking about All Elite Wrestling. Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Chris Jericho, Darby Allin. Well, in watching this past Wednesday night's program, it comes on at Wednesday nights, called AEW Dynamite, you really got to see creativity at its best with Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho came out, did some promos that were just off the charts, and he acted, and reacted to the crowd and what the crowd was saying. And here's an example. Here's Chris Jericho. This is courtesy of this past Wednesday night's AEW's Dynamite.
And then this man right here, this giant behind me. You may think you know who he is, but his real name is Jake Hagar. And yeah, Jake Hagar, he's a former world champion, but more importantly, right here, right now, he is the toughest, most terrified, most crazy MMA fighter in the world today. Okay, hold on. Hey, calm down for 1 second. Calm down for 1 second. We the People sucks and it's dead and buried. It was a stupid idea from bad creative, and all that's gone.
There's Chris Jericho from AEW's Dynamite this past Wednesday night. Now, let me set the scene here for you. See, Jake Hagar was a wrestler in the WWE, Jack Swagger, and creative wrote him this line about "We the People." And Chris Jericho is a heel in the AEW. He's a bad guy, as is his team, his faction, including Jake Hagar. And the crowd should not be cheering them. There is no way that the crowd should be cheering them. And recognizing what was happening and given the freedom to do what he does best, and that's talk on the mic, Chris Jericho changed the whole evening, and he changed the whole conversation by saying, hold on, that was creative, that's dead. And to build even more heat, because again, the heel is not to be cheered. To build more heat, he didn't stop there. He went after Cody Rhodes and the Rhodes family.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Cody. That's right, challenging me on November 9th at Full Gear. Cody, who's been entitled from his famous family his entire life, was born with a silver spoon in his mouth his entire life. Well, you know what, Cody? I don't like you, and I don't like your family. I don't like your father, Dusty Rhodes. I think he was a jerk. I don't like your brother, Dustin Rhodes. I think he's a moron. I'm going to kick his ass tonight.
So there he is, creating more heat. See, Chris Jericho had the freedom to do that. If all of this was scripted, Jericho would have not had the freedom to build this kind of heat. Now, what does building that kind of heat mean in professional wrestling? Well, building that kind of heat means that pay-per-view tickets sell quicker. They sell faster. It means money. And allowing professional wrestlers to exercise their creativity, to say those things that they're born and bred and need to say to draw heat or win favor, has been a part of professional wrestling for a long time. But when leadership gets involved and they put so much pressure on a professional wrestler where they can't do that, where they lose that opportunity, that just takes away from the golden elements and the magical moments of professional wrestling. Again, I go back to Vishen Polowski's article where he says great leaders don't set out to be a leader. They set out to make the difference. It is never about the role. It is always about the goal. And that is what great leaders do. They set out to make their sales professionals the very best that they can be. Because it's not about the role, it's about making goals. It's about selling product, pleasing clients, making money, and hitting our goal. AEW is not the only wrestling organization that has noticed that these canned, scripted, micromanaged interviews and promos aren't working. This past Tuesday night, the NWA, they had their very first YouTube broadcast of NWA Power. Again, a throwback to the old studio shows. If you liked Georgia Championship Wrestling, then this Tuesday night at 6:05, go onto the NWA channel on YouTube and check out NWA Power. But Billy Corrigan and his creative team, they are allowing, just like AEW is, their wrestlers the freedom and creativity to write, cut, and speak their own promos. Here's NWA World's Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis.
An incredibly brilliant, handsome man once said, "It is so hard to be humble." And when I think about the fact that I'm coming up on 1 year, 365 days as the real world's champion, sometimes it's so hard to stay hungry. But then I think about just how far we've come from a punchline to a headline. The NWA is here in Atlanta, GA, and I'm fired up, and I know you people are too.
There's Nick Aldis from last Tuesday night. That's courtesy of the NWA Power. He's the world's heavyweight champion for the NWA. Again, the freedom to be creative, the freedom to say what's on his mind, the freedom to make sure that he speaks and connects with the audience, not micromanaged, not told what to do. And if you listen to these interviews and these promos from AEW and the NWA, and then you go and you watch NXT, which is a WWE product, or you watch Raw on Monday night or SmackDown on Friday night, you miss that authentic sense of creativity and of human emotion. And when leadership starts to micromanage to a point that their team members can't make not even one single decision without management approval, where creativity is stripped away, identity is stripped away, you start to lose good people. I've seen a lot of articles on LinkedIn and on Facebook and online that talk about that good people don't leave good jobs. They leave bad management. Where the management is bad, they leave. Here's another example of the creativity that is allowed by the management of NWA. This is James Storm from this past Tuesday night.
You know, I hear you saying storm this and storm that. Well, let me tell you something, boy. I'm the only storm that you need to worry about. Because I am the one and the only James Mother effing Storm. And see, the funny thing is guys like you that get to pretend like they're tough because you get to put on a pair of wrestling trunks and a pair of wrestling boots and do little moves to your friends. Boy, you ain't tough. You see, that's the problem with this business today is guys like you could never walk a mile in my shoes.
So there's James Storm from this past Tuesday night, and you can hear how the crowd is connecting with him. You can hear how the crowd is cheering him. You can hear how they're laughing with him, how they're enjoying what is happening. And that's what happens when you allow your team members, the people that you manage, that's what happens when you allow them the creativity and the freedom to be who they are, to be the true professionals that they are. Again, I go back to Vision Polowski's article. He says, weak leaders measure success by money, position, and power. Strong leaders measure success by the difference they made in other people's lives. And you see, that's the vibe or the sense or what I'm reading from AEW and the NWA is that they are allowing their professional wrestlers the opportunity to make a difference in their lives, to make a difference in their careers. The secret to success of my own career was to hire good people, trust them to do their jobs, and bring out the best in them, not to stress them. That's Vision Polowski. He also wrote, good people need little to no management. They need support, they need clarity, and they need encouragement. And that's what this podcast is about. If you're in a leadership role and you want to be a great leader, support your team. Speak and instruct with clarity and encourage. And then finally, I would say, from my own experience of being a sales leader at multiple sales organizations, a good leader becomes a resource, a key resource to their team. Be there for your team. And with that, I'm going to close this podcast of Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling, episode number 47. Wow! We are working our way toward episode number 50, and I hope the crew's got something special for number 50. I don't know. Well, if they don't, they better get on it now. Remember, you can email me at greatamericanThunder@gmail.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn at Benjamin Burrows. Follow me on Twitter at Great American Thunder, at Real Ben Burrows. And don't forget, you are the Great American Thunder on which this nation rolls, because nothing happens until something is sold. So quit listening to me and get out there and sell something.
I am one voice that stands alone. I am one choice to man the throne. Stand guard and take shots, give it all I got. All I got is this microphone.